So another Oscars event, there's a film about what's happening in the Middle East, Israel and the Arabs. There's a film that's to do with the Holocaust, another film to do with the Holocaust. And you'd expect that surely this would be an opportunity, especially if the actors are going to make a speech and they're going to talk about politics, where they'll stand up for the Jewish people. And in basically every single case, it was the opposite, or at least nothing much in support. I'm not saying we should look to the Oscars for solutions to Jewish people's problems, but the fact is that we should be aware of the moral vacuum that exists there and in so much of Western institutions. I just want to go through 3 examples with you. So the most obvious one is there's a Palestinian propaganda movie called No Other Land, which won an Oscar. Selena Gomez is involved in it. It's been thoroughly debunked, by the way. And as you'll see, they demand a stop to the ethnic cleansing in Gaza. That's what Israel's doing. Which is literally what Hamas is doing. Literally what the Palestinian Society calls for. But of course, you'll see everyone in the room basically clapping like sheep. Have a watch.
Thank you to the Academy for the award. It's such a big honor for the 4 of us and everybody supported us for this documentary. About 2 months ago, I became a father, and my hope to my daughter that she will not have to live the same life I'm living now, always fearing settlers' violence, home demolitions, and forest spill displacements that my community, Masafir Yatta, is living and facing every day under the Israeli occupation. No other land reflect the harsh reality that we have been enduring for decades and still persist as we call on the world to take serious actions to stop the injustice and to stop the ethnic cleansing of Palestinian people.
So let's just understand every single thing that he talks about and he complains about. For decades, we've experiencing this. And I assume if you were to ask him, what do you mean? He'd say, well, displacement, occupation, blockade, security checkpoints, all these things. Every single one of those things has been self-inflicted by Palestinians, the Arabs. I don't even think there's much point calling them Palestinians because they themselves acknowledge that they're just part of the Arab world. Their leadership has never cared about having a unique national nation state and identity. They consider themselves Arabs. They want Arab unity. They'd be happy to be part of another Arab country that would have conquered the land in 48 or 67. It's just about getting rid of the Jews. That's what it's ultimately about. Notice he has nothing to say about what happened on October 7th, about what Hamas did and are doing, even now. Starving, torturing, kidnapping, mutilating, killing these hostages. Nothing to say about that. You know, I've got to tell you, if I was involved in a genuine resistance organization, because I don't think this is genuine, but let's say it was genuine, and they used Hamas's tactics, I'd feel utterly ashamed of what they did and feel a need to call that out so it doesn't shame the entire movement. No, it has nothing to say there to the cheering, adoring crowd.
We made this film, Palestinians and Israelis, because together our voices are stronger. We see each other. The atrocious destruction of Gaza and its people, which must end. The Israeli hostages brutally taken in the crime of October 7th, which must be freed. When I look at Basel, I see...
So at least the Israeli guy has the sense to call out what happened on October 7th. But I don't know. It's it almost seems like it's all just in passing.
My brother, but we are unequal. We live in a regime where I am free under civilian law, and Basel is under military laws that destroy his life, and he...
So you see, it's a passing comment, but really, we're the bad ones. We're the guilty ones. We, the Israelis. The Arabs are just the victims, and that's what this ultimately comes down to. It's all nonsense. It's the other way around. The Palestinian identity they've created is simply an identity that is the front of, the pawns of, the Arab world and the anti-Israel global coalition that seeks to get rid of Israel that is far bigger than Israel. Actually, Israel is the underdog in this story of survival.
We cannot control. There is a different path, a political solution without ethnic supremacy, with national rights for both of our people. And I have to say, as I am here, the foreign policy in this country is helping to block this path. And, why? Can't you see that we are intertwined? That my people can be truly safe if Basel's people are truly free and safe. There is another way. It's not too late for life, for the living. There is no other way. Thank you.
The delusion is just scary. Jews can live we can live side by side without having a home of our own. Well, we tried that for 2,000 years. How'd that work out for us? We've tried peace. Come on, let's just live side by side. We've tried that for 100 years. The other side has constantly shown they're not interested in that. Oh, so let's just have one state where Jews and Arabs all live together and the Jewish people can't have a home of their own. You know what that will lead to. The whole point of Israel is the Jewish people are entitled to a home. And where better, where more appropriate than their ancient historic homeland that they were forcefully kicked out of, displaced from, whose name was renamed Palestine in order to sever that Jewish connection, as it was once called Judea. And he's right, there will be a time in the future where Jews and Arabs, who are cousins, will get along. But it's not going to be through the Jewish people no longer having a home of their own. You want to call that ethnic supremacy? Fine, call it ethnic. It's not. Anyone can become Jewish. How is that ethnic supremacy? The point is we want to have self-determination as a unique people. They themselves, the Arabs, don't consider themselves a unique people. And we've indulged the idea that they are by offering them statehood for 100 years, and they've said no time and time again. It's delusional to think that we just offer them all citizenship and there won't be a bloodbath. They were offered citizenship. Sorry, they weren't offered citizenship. They're before Israel existed. You had the Ottoman Empire, and then you also had the British Empire controlling the territory. And there was a riot. There was a pogrom in the 1920s done by the Arabs against the Jews. There was no Israel then. They're both living side by side with the same rights. Hajj Amin al-Husseini, the leader of the Palestinians, went to visit the concentration camps before Israel existed to learn about them and see and encourage Hitler to do the same in British Mandate of Palestine. So that was one thing that happened. Then there was another film, Where We Get Back, A Real Pain, and this features Kieran, I want to make sure I say his name right, Kieran Culkin, which is a movie about two people that go and see the Poland and see the death camps where their grandmother, suffered in the Holocaust. And in his speech, Kieran doesn't mention, in his Oscar speech, he doesn't mention at all anything about anti-Semitism. Now, I'm not insisting that he does, but for a film that's focused on the Holocaust to not say anything about Jew hatred, especially when it's so high and on the rise, it strikes me as just a little bit odd. I found it hard to imagine other actors doing that on other issues. And then Adrian Brody, who is, again, a film about a Holocaust survivor who goes to America to build a new life. And he says this.
And systematic oppression and of anti-Semitism and racism and of othering. And I believe that I pray for a healthier and a happier and a more inclusive world. And I believe if the past can teach us anything, it's a reminder to not let hate go unchecked.
So here, okay, he actually gives a quick, brief mention of anti-Semitism, but the way he's doing it is making it all about hate being bad. And that is to fundamentally misunderstand anti-Semitism. That anti-Semitism is actually a unique hatred. Unique because its longevity, universality, its intensity, and its irrationality. Hatreds tend to have one consistent reason, one consistent pattern. With the Jews, it mutates, it changes. The Jews are hated for not just different reasons, but alternative reasons. And anti-Semitism, unlike other hatreds, is exterminationist in nature. And again, at a time when Jew hatred is on the rise, in the aftermath of the worst massacre of the Jewish people since the Holocaust, to just say, oh, you know, yeah, there's anti-Semitism and there's other hatreds, no. And especially when your film is related so much to anti-Semitism. So I'm not actually ultimately saying this, I have to say. I'm not saying this to bash on people. I'm simply saying it because, I think this is happening anyway, it's important that we wake up to the moral bankruptcy or moral vacuum that exists in so many of the Western institutions of our age. Whether it's colleges and universities, whether it's the media, whether it's NGOs, political organizations, celebrity culture, sports culture, and yes, Hollywood. We're coming to realize that that's not where wisdom and truth can ultimately be found. And I think that's a very good realization. It's so interesting to me that this has happened concurrently in the aftermath of October 7th, that just in the days and weeks afterwards, we had calling for the genocide of Jews. Whether that's bad or not on a college campus depends on the context. We'd have all these celebrities being utterly silent on what Hamas did. All this is happening in tandem because it's making us realize that these are false idols. And as we get closer and closer to, in the Jewish view, the Messianic era, the era in which the world is full of the knowledge of God, it's going to also mean that in the run-up to that, the false idols of our age are going to have to collapse. And while it may look like at that Oscars event, celebrities are all being adored and celebrated, actually what's happening on the ground is celebrities are losing their power. They're losing their respect as scandal after scandal comes out, as more and more of the hypocrisy of celebrities and how they appear publicly then privately, and the unhealthiness of the lifestyles that they lead and the whole culture within that celebrity world becomes clearer, the more the masses are waking up to this and realizing this in a very organic way. So don't be upset by what you saw at the Oscars. It's just another symptom of the collapsing idols of our age. Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.